Hey guys, Romie here, so please like, comment, subscribe. This is, of course, my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 9, Episode 11. Thelma and Louise take on, Flint? Now, the episode starts off with Kenya and Phaedra going down to Flint, Michigan. They drove down, so they drove down and Kenya was the one driving, so you know they were in the convertible. And Phaedra had this look of, oh, we having fun, right? We having fun, yay. Girl, if you don't slow down just a little bit. Oh, yeah, we having fun. Anyway, so they get there, and now it's time for them to go put down their things. They're at the campsite. Of course, you know, it's really good to see the ladies go and do something a little bit different from what we normally see them doing, especially giving back, and with the money that they earned from the pop-up shop and what was also donated, they were able to bless 150 campers this year. So for a full week, they got to be there. It was for free, and it looks like Phaedra's gonna try and do this at least every year and more, which is great because that community needs it. There's a lot of communities just like it that need it just as much. So it's really great to see this show that's not predominantly full black cast, high ratings. Of course, we know not as high as they used to be, but still high ratings, especially for a full black cast. Most paid for a network as far as reality TV, Real Housewives, and so shout out to these ladies for doing something different. Now tell me why that one, Kenya had this look of, wait, so these are the actual beds you're going to be sleeping on? I'm thinking, this is a camp. Yes. 2, because she said she's never went camping, so that makes sense. But you've been in the dorm. We know you gone to college, so you've been in the dorm. It is basically the same thing as being in the dorm, except for that looked like a lot more room. 2, when they were initially seeing the campgrounds, it was funny how Kenya was like, oh, hey, I won Miss USA. And the kids were like, oh, puppies. Even when they went to the cabin, it was like, oh, puppies. So, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Portia has to talk with her Todd, and her Todd tells her, you know what, my job had an issue with, he works for a conservative company, a conservative group, and they didn't like the pictures that Todd had, pictures and videos that Todd had on his social media with Portia. So they told him to make a decision that he can either continue his work there in DC at that particular firm office, whatever he was doing exactly, or he could go. And I was thinking, oh, okay. I was like, oh, sorry, Portia. But I'm like, no, she's logical, she'll understand. He said he'll go. We all had this look of, now Todd, in a different world, that would sound really sweet. And Portia hit it, the nail right on the head. She's looking for stability. She was originally just looking to have a guy to come in and, you know, be the sperm donor so that she can go and have a kid of her own. Todd was saying, no, I want you to have a real family unit and then have a kid. And now for this guy to say, you know what, because they didn't really like what I was doing with you, I quit my job, but I don't have anything else going on right now. I'm thinking, Todd has 2 kids, doesn't he? He has 2 other kids, so I understand clearly he's still going to be getting money from that initially, but to actually just full on quit, not have any type of plans, like, no, I love you, that's it, we'll figure it out. There is no we'll figure it out. They're not really an established couple. Portia told her, we're not an established couple, I'm supposed to be having fun, you came in and kind of changed all that, and that was cool, but why would you go and do something so impulsive, thinking that I would appreciate it when I'm looking for stability? And I said, I completely agree. Now back at the camp, you know, they're doing, now that zip lining that they did at the camp, I would do that version of zip lining because that looked fun, that didn't look too fast, and I don't want all that wind in my face coming at me quickly. If we can go and I can actually enjoy the scenery, that'd be nice, because I like being high up. So, you know, while they're at the camp on their second day, and I guess Kenya decided, you know what, I am just going to stay here. I don't know if she was just there so that, for when the cameras were rolling or not. Either way, it's good that she was there, period. Now, on the second day, they're going to do activities with the campers, and one of the things that they're going to do is Kenya introduces herself, and of course, really the girls are excited. The guys are like, oh, okay, who is she? I'm not really sure, but even if I am, okay, whatever. So she's talking about, her experiences growing up as a little girl, and people telling her she can't do this, she can't do that, she was too dark enough, her hair, all of that. And it was really sad to see those kids, all those little girls raise their hands saying that they've been told they're too dark enough, or that their hair isn't right or appropriate, and like, those are little girls. Some of them are not even 10 years old. Already, they already are being grown up and groomed, if you will. I hate that phrase, but groomed to look at themselves a certain way in society instead of lifted up. So Kenya, she did the whole positive reinforcement thing with them. She started to bring some of the girls up there, and she would go and ask, okay, what is it that people judge you about or make fun of you about? And first of all, that's very brave for them to go and admit that. So, this one girl's like, they say my hair's too curly. So she said, you know what? You know what you're going to say to that? She said, her usual, my hair isn't too curly, it's fabulous, and just like I'm fabulous. And she did the whole twirl thing, and at one point she had everyone twirling. She had this one girl who was like, I'm fabulous. She said, nope, say it like you mean it. I know your lungs can contract more than that. And then she was like, I'm fabulous. So then she strutted, and I was like, oh, look at this. Now this is definitely more stuff we need to do, period, with kids, because I think we kind of forget that kids slowly get conditioned to believe negative things about themselves and are constantly put down just because it's not happening in front of the parents. If the parents are in the situation, doesn't mean that it's not happening, period. So it was really nice to see Kenya be able to do that, and I know that they really did appreciate that. All of the kids. Now Candy, little Ace, so cute. Cynthia is coming over. Now Cynthia goes, she backs up into Candy's driveway, and Candy has this look of, well, why are you backing up? I'm thinking, Candy, you know why. You don't want to accept it, but you know why. Candy finds out Cynthia brought a couple of things, and I wasn't mad at Cynthia. I'm thinking, Candy, I know she felt a little offended. It's like, okay, I'm opening my home to you, and you're saying that you need to bring all this stuff. Why? Cynthia brought everything. She brought toiletries, she brought food, snacks, and I thought that was great. I thought that was great because Cynthia already halfway invited herself, well, not invited herself, but Kenya invited Cynthia to Candy's own home. So, in my opinion, that's what you do. You either bring something for the house, or you at least make sure you have everything so they don't have to do anything for you, so that you can cook your own stuff. You don't have to use their stuff, or they don't have to go out and get stuff for you. I get, but shout out to Candy because she allowed Cynthia to stay in her downstairs, which is, of course, completely furnished and looked really nice. Cynthia looked, oh yeah, this'll do. This'll do nice, child. I'm thinking, it better. You can stay in the hotel if you want. Anyway, so we're back at the camp, and the kids are dancing, and they actually go on this boat ride. And they're doing, one of the usual things of, see, in the black community, I guess it's kind of like a sing-along / rap, so you kind of pump yourself up, and everyone does this chant. And later on, there's a talent show. So you have a bunch of people dancing, a bunch of people singing, and at one point, we have the older kids who have been through a lot. Like, one kid doesn't have either of his parents, and of course life down there is hard, so it was really hard for him. Another kid, I believe his brother or his cousin was killed. So it's just like, these are the things that we kind of forget that kids are going through. And so Kenya and Phage were just like, you know what, we're here to support you, we love you. And the kids were just saying how they appreciate this so much. Just a week away, like the older kids were saying that even the kids that weren't even necessarily as old, because let me tell you this, when they were telling their stories, all those kids, you can tell that they were going through something because they were just bawling. Because it wasn't just because someone else was crying, it's because they had similar family backgrounds. So Yeah, like I said, it was really empowering because at the end they did this like campfire thing. Everyone had a candle or lantern, and it was just kind of, a release and let go. And Kenya and Phaedra, Kenya was saying how she appreciates Phaedra so much for doing this and involving her, and of course need to come back and do it again. And I agree. I'm definitely all for that. But here's the thing that threw me off. When Kenya talked about how, you know what, Phaedra, I'm so glad that we're finally getting back to the way that we used to be friends again. I'm thinking, when were they ever friends? When were they ever friends? Because you came on the show right away, and you weren't necessarily going at Phaedra, but you were, it was really the trip where you guys got to know each other. It wasn't for the best. And that's why I'm trying to figure out, when were you ever friends? But I get it. Kenya, in her ever quest to, show that she can maintain real relationships, and so I guess the woman in this group, if she can't maintain a relationship with the people that she has to be around with most of the time, then who can she maintain it with? So I guess I get it. I guess I get it, whatever. Everyone's back home. Phaedra's with her cute kids. Cynthia finds out from her realtor that her house was appraised for $950K, which means that the appraisal was back to where it originally was, if not more. So she can move. She can move. Candy's just like, oh, congratulations. It's like, you know what? Of course I'll have you over as soon as everything's done. As soon as everything's done, Candy. Not while I'm putting it in the box. So that was cute enough. Sheree has this, I guess you can say, this lunch date with Bob to kind of make up for what he did the last time where he took her to that vegan spot. Bob, what is it? Does he take like shots or something? Because he's always sweating. He's always sweating, and the only issue with that is because I guess on camera it really picks up, so we're looking at it like, can we just say what's going on? Because Bob seems real. He seems like the type that would go and admit that, okay, this is what's going on. Anyway, so he has like this burlesque themed dance set up, and then at one point he gets up there himself with the boa and starts dancing for Sheree. And Sheree's saying how she appreciates him because this is the person who she really fell in love with, his personality and all that. I get it. That's her main storyline, her possibly reconnecting with Bob and just showing that they can be civil, because Bob does apologize, and he acknowledges the fact that she's a good mother and she's a great mother, and their kids turned out really well, especially considering that he wasn't necessarily in the picture like he should have been, or that he could have, or maybe we could say that he could have been. So I think that this is definitely good to see a couple willing to at least mend broken bridges so that they can continue to raise their kids together, because once they get older, it doesn't stop. You'll never actually stop raising your kids. So showing some type of unity is very important. But why did we have to get this story about how Bob, when they were in Spain, Bob was flirting with some girl, and Sheree was trying to curse him out or curse the girl out, and then Sheree got a drink thrown in her face, so then she started to box Bob out, and that's why they got kicked out of Spain. Oh God. Now I'm thinking to myself, you played football. Why don't we have football wives? We have basketball wives, we had baseball wives, we probably have like soccer wives overseas. I don't know. Why didn't we have football wives? Because the football wives, I have a feeling that their stories are crazy as... Anyway, Portia, she's sick because she's always had this medical condition. She's actually passed out at least 5 times in her... blacked out at least 5 times in her life. And so TMZ, of course, was reporting it that while she was out, I believe at the nail salon. Because I remember when this actually happened, we were like, oh no, what's going on with Portia? Maybe she needs to sit down. But no, it's just a medical condition where, of course, overworked and all that, she doesn't have as much blood pumping to her head as she needs. And I'm thinking, oh God, let the jokes begin. Let the jokes begin. I'm like, Lord, this is a real medical condition, people. Let's just leave her alone. Let's just leave her alone. let's just leave her alone, because I know someone was about to be petty and say something. I have a problem with you saying something in the comment thing below, because I am not your mother. Clearly, I'm not your father, not your brother, not your uncle. But let's just give her this, because she passed out, she blacked out, that's scary, you know. So let's have her have that moment at least. Todd comes over, and, well, Shamiya, you know, was helping her out. Todd comes over, and Shamiya still doesn't like Phaedra, by the way. Still has an issue with Phaedra. But in the next episode, there'll be more to talk about with that. Even though Shamiya was just like, so Phaedra and Kenya, interesting. Yeah, now, Todd is there, and Portia just has to be real and say, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. You want me to go and be okay with you not having a job and not necessarily looking for one right now? First of all, that doesn't make any sense. I'm making moves. You see me sick out here and I'm still trying to do a damn thing. I have cameras in my face even though I don't feel well. Even minimal makeup for me. And you aren't really doing anything right now because you want to spend all the time, put the focus on me. That's beautiful. That's great and all, but I need stability, and I didn't realize how carefree you are. I didn't realize how okay in the moment you are. In theory, that sounds great, but I need someone a little bit more stable. You're not showing me stability, and that's what I need. I can't raise a family with someone who's not showing me a certain level of stability. And I respect her for saying that. Todd has this, reaction of, wait a minute, so, what do you really want from me? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, wait a minute, who's this? Who's this? He wasn't getting buck or anything, but still, I was like, who is that? Todd, are you cool? Are you okay? Bruh, no. Because I was like, that's not what we were getting this whole time. So is that the other side? Is that the immature side finally coming out? Because I want to know. That was doing a little too much. Now the ladies have this sit down, and the sit down's to kind of talk about how things went well over in Flint, and you know that Portia isn't thrilled that Kenya is back in Phaedra's life, and they want to go and do a camping trip. Well, Phaedra wants to go and do a camping trip. For the most part, everyone says they're game. Now, why did Kenya even have to bring this up? Because it's Kenya Moore. Kenya decided she wanted to bring up the fact that, well, Phaedra let it be known that you're in anger management and things, how are things going, how are things progressing. And you could tell that Portia was irritated and slightly hurt, like, why did I have to hear from Kenya that Phaedra told her that I'm in anger management? Regardless if that's true or not, why did Phaedra go and tell her that? Because I didn't tell Phaedra to go and blast it to the world. That wasn't the whole point. In my own time, in my own way, if I wanted to say that, which she probably wanted to at some point, and then I was like, you know what, it's not even necessary, because look, she may or may not still be going. She may not or still think it's necessary. The whole thing was Kenya, she brought it up because it was like, okay, so I know you have some issues going on. I know you're working on them. What's the update? You don't say it to someone that you don't actually talk to once the camera stopped rolling. So the fact that Kenya thought she could go and just say something like that to Portia when it wasn't a public knowledge, and then Phaedra looked like a deer in headlights because Kenya put it back on her. And yes, Phaedra did tell Kenya, obviously, how else would she have known? Phaedra did tell Kenya about that. And to make matters worse, Kenya bring up the fact that Portia started to fight with her ex-assistant last year, and so there is an issue. But my thing is, again, it wasn't your business to bring it up. It was actually really random for you to bring it up. You did that just for the effect of, okay, let's see how she reacts to this. And then Candy comes in, and it's just like, oh, well, what's the problem? What's the real issue? Like, how is that actually going? Portia, now, when she said, well, what happened because of the fact that what you did with the whole scepter thing. Now, obviously, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, there's always different ways to handle things. A lot of people, when they have something in their face and someone's talking to them a certain way, you know, that self-preservation of, okay, two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to leave, or, oh, three things. Or I'm going to just sit there and argue back and take it and hopefully you'll stop. Or I may not think anymore and just react. Portia just reacted. You could tell immediately that she felt a certain way about the fact that she even did that. But let's not pretend like, oh my gosh, Portia's this bad person because she put her hands on Kenya. Because she didn't like box her or anything like that. She did drag her, so she did put her hands on her, and it was in a forceful way because she was over her. But this whole mantra of Portia was like, wait, so are you concerned to be around me? Are you afraid? And Kenya said, no, don't worry. No, I'm always up and ready. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, that's when the conversation needs to end, because Phaedra shouldn't have said that to Kenya. See, that's the thing. Phaedra shouldn't have said that to Kenya because of Kenya's history. You should have known that at some point Kenya was going to go and bring that back up. Portia felt blindsided, so she wasn't even going to acknowledge the fact that she was doing the anger management. She said yes, she was doing it. She doesn't feel like there's necessarily a problem. And that's when Kenya said, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. This would be completely different if this was pre-discussed that we're going to go and talk about this. Candy going in. I don't know what's with Candy this season, because I appreciate the fact that Candy is speaking up more. I really do. But sometimes I feel like it comes out in such pent-up hostility that if you were to just do this when it was initially an issue, then we would have been cool. We would have been cool. Because what happened was, instead, her family was the vocal one instead of her. So that's why we're looking at this like, really? Really? So then, Kenny's like, you know what, I'm just going to get up and go. I'm just going to get up and go get a drink. Portia decides, I'm just going to go and leave. They go and they try to follow her in the parking lot. And I'm thinking, Portia is right, Kenya, you're not her friend. And Portia's over it. She feels blindsided. So she wants to go. Allow her the ability to leave. She decides to go get in her car and leave. And I know she didn't mean what she said about I'm tired of you, I'm done with all of you. She didn't mean all. She meant most. Because she's had an issue with most of the women. Because there was the thing with her and Kenya. Then her and Cynthia. Cynthia kicked her. So, of course, with how she reacted afterwards, it is what it is. But, I know a lot of people don't like that phrase, but part of this whole thing started because Kenya decided she wanted to go and, you know, bring up something that wasn't up for public discussion. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. So then when Portia left, now Kenya goes and decides, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand why she can't have a civil conversation. The narrative switches over to Sheree saying, well, you know, I understand why you're going after a girl like that. You do have a way of antagonizing people. I mean, look at your situation with Matt. Now, when Sheree said that, I thought, oh, okay, Sheree, we know that you are right. We know that you are right, but that's a little shaky because that could tear on the border of domestic violence. So we're just going to back away from that. We're going to back away from that. And then it's switched back over to Kenya saying, well, how are you making fun of me? I'm like, she wasn't making fun of you. She was trying to say that, like, we get it, and I just acknowledge that, how that can be perceived. But then you decide, all right, so even if that's what you meant or what you didn't mean, I'm going to show you that I'm Kenya Moore. Kenya says, well, what about you and your boyfriends that used to hit you? Now, again, that was a paraphrase. But you get what I'm saying. She did essentially say exactly what I said in different words. The fact that she even went and brought that up, and of course Sheree's like, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then the confessional, it's like, even if that was the case, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Like, what? Why? She wasn't making, now, let's be real, Sheree wasn't making fun of Kenya with the whole issue with Matt. Sheree was just trying to say, you piss people off. You have a way of pissing people off or antagonizing people. Doesn't mean that physical violence is necessary. Absolutely not. But there is something there is something with you. So I got where Sheree was coming from. I also understand how it could have been perceived, so I'm not going to go and pretend like I don't. But Kenya, really? Kenya, you really went and did that to... Okay. And so then now, guess who comes back? Because Kenya's just like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. And that's her usual way, okay? Things get too hot, now I'm just going to make fun of myself, and then everyone will be cool. I'm like, no, we're not going to go and pretend like you didn't just say what you said. We're not going to go and pretend like you just said what you said. Frasier wanted Portia to come back. Portia came back, mainly for Frasier, and also I'm thinking, you're probably obligated for this scene. So they're like, this is good. Get your butt back here. So she got back there. Now, Portia let it be known, Phaedra, this is why I told you you can't trust someone like Kenya. Kenya went and used information, which I don't know why you told her that, because I didn't tell you to tell her that. And now we're in this predicament. So now I have to go and see her and deal with this every time I see her. And this is why I said, you know, this is freaking fact right here. This is freaking fact right here. Thelma and Louise does not exist. Thelma and Louise is not real. Thelma and Louise is not for you. You can't trust someone like that. I don't know why Candy said anything at all, because that's what I was like, dang it, Candy, we were cool this episode. We were cool, and then you said your opinion, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do in life and on the especially on the show. But it just felt like, for this particular instance, why? Why? Because actually, I get it. You felt like, don't group me in with the other women. But initially, it did feel like, okay, Portia, I'm coming for you because I can. So please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week. We know what the real issue is with the whole her, Todd, and Portia thing. So we'll get into